Greetings, friend. Ashish Kumar. He's a Sudoku solver, setter, and book author. He has his own channel, Unshacking Sudoku. We did a collaboration last month. I'll put a link to that collaboration in this video. Great knowledge, great Sudoku resource, awesome person. I'm going to analyze one of his solves from one of his videos today. This video was called How to Spot Skyscraper Logic in a Tough Classic Sudoku. It was released September 20th, 2020. It is one of the more popular videos on the Unshacking Sudoku channel. The only thing Ashish knows, starting off, is that there's got to be some kind of skyscraper required. I'll put a link to that original video in the description. And in this video, I'm going to give you 2 positive video moments and 2 what-if areas where I'll dive into some alternate solving paths. So, how do you find and solve a Sudoku skyscraper? Let's find out. And with that, it's solving time. Ashish does not strictly use Snyder notation. He instead marks candidates in an effort to look for restrictions within the puzzle. I'll do my best to distinguish where all the candidates are marked in cells. So starting out here, what he notices is he's looking at the 3s. He sees the restriction of the 3s down there in block 7. And then he's able to solve for 5 by cross-hatching these 2 5s. And then he marks some 5s, like saying, okay, there's a 5 here and a 5 down there. See those 2 5s. And then he comes up to block 3, and he marks all the places where 5 can be. So this is not Snyder notation to mark 3 5s, corner like that. But he thinks there's going to be some kind of restriction that will play into that a little bit later. Okay, he moves on to the 2s. He knows there's only 2 places for 2s there in block 3, and also down here in block 7. Then he looks and moves on to the 9s, and he's noticing there's only 2 places for a 9 right there in block 4. Then he's able to solve for a 4, so he's starting to look at the 4s coming across, and he solves for a 4 up there in block 2. Makes him some, and then comes down and says, okay, I can, only 2 places left for 4 down there in block 7. Then he looks at the 6s and notices he can solve for 6, because you see I have a 6 here in columns 5 and 6, and cross row 5. So he solves for that 6. And notices that these 2 6s now limit the 6s right here, so now we have a 6-9 naked pair. And those is always crucial to find. You find a naked pair like this, you're going to create a lot more restrictions within a block and within a column. These are also, so this is super helpful they found that. And so he used that to go, well, the rest of this block could just be a 1, 4, and a 7. So he marks the 1, 4, 7 naked triple. At that point, he really doesn't see anything else. And so now he's starting to look for restricted houses, the house being, block, row, or column. And by restricted houses, what you want to look for at this case is, are there any more, rows, columns, blocks where there's only like 2 candidates remaining, then 3, then 4. And so he'll notice is that columns 4 and 6, they have, 4 cells that are empty. And so there's probably going to be some restrictions along this chute, the second middle chute here. So first he starts on column 4. And he notices, okay, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 1, 7, 8, and 1, 7, 9. All right, so all those were 3 candidates, no real restrictions there. So then he moves on to column 6. And he fills in these spots, 3, 7, and 5, 7, 8. Okay, so this is interesting. And this is something that Ashish notices after filling this out. We can now solve for a 4 here in block 5. So this brings us up to our first pause the video moment. Pause the video and see if you can solve for a 4 in block 5 while I give you a few seconds. Congratulations if you did it. You're an expert at spotting hidden singles. And for those who just want to enjoy the show, it's right here. Because what he notices now, 4s can't be here, they can't be here, and there he saw a 4 here in columns 8 and 7. And then we marked that 4 there. So he's like, oh, there, only 1 space left for a 4. Right there in row 6, column 5. And after that, Ashish finishes the rest of row 6. And you'll see it's a 1, 3, 7 naked triple, but with this naked pair, it doesn't really add much, but it just shows that there's some restrictions going on right there. At that point, he looks around and he notices row 3, column 3. This is where I always find some interest because he marked these right here, and he says there's something about row 3, column 3 that's going to lead the rest of the puzzle. And why is he doing that? I don't know. I don't know why he picked on that. I think it's because you can see there's some candidates coming in here from the row, there's some in the block, and there's always some restrictions forming this column. But it does become pretty fruitful. And I think as an expert solver, you start to notice these kind of patterns and hone in on these restricted cells. And so what he does is, all right, let's go down the rest of column 3 and see what we can do. And what he ends up finding out is like, oh, I have a 1, 4 here and a 1, 4 there. So it means 1s and 4s are limited to there. And all the other can't fill in. So now this creates a 1, 4, 7 naked triple. This is outstanding because now you have a 1, 4, 7 naked triple. It's going to cause some eliminations here in column 3. So this brings us up to our first what if moment. So what if he didn't spot this naked triple? Where to next? I'll show you. So if you did not spot the 1, 4, 7 naked triple, what you can do, the next place you can look is you actually look, there's a 2 in row 4, or excuse me, row 5 and row 6, and so you can solve that for 2. Then you could come across and look at these 6s coming down column 8 and across row 9, and being there's only 2 places left for a 6 here in block 9, which is in row 7. And so that means this is a pointing pair of 6s coming across. That's important because you see the 6 covers row 3, covers rows 4 and 5 because of the naked triple, and now with this it covers row 7 and row 9, so this would have to be a 6 right here, and then we could solve that for a 3, and then we could move on with the rest of the puzzle. You actually see a 3 right here and right here. You could solve this for a 3. So you can make some progress if you didn't find that naked triple at that point. And so by creating this naked triple, Ashish noticed that he can get rid of the 1 and the 7 from row 3, column 3. So it did become important. And by doing that, he's able to solve that for a 2. From that point, he actually is able to solve, it switches back to cross-hatching, solves a lot more cells here. So you can look across rows 2 and 3, you can get the 2 up there in block 3, and then he came down columns 2 and 3, solved for that 2. Moved over and noticed that he could then solve for the 3 there in row 7, column 3, and then he started looking at the 6s, and what you notice is that there's only 1 place left for a 6 here, so he could solve that for a 6. And switch back over to the 3s and said, oh, we got a 3 cutting across here. We can solve for a 3 in block 8, which took away our place for our 5. So then we can solve for our 5. And see how he took advantage. He did use some of Snyder type notation, so he's able to take advantage of that and then solve that for a 5. Moved up to row 2 and say, oh, there's only 1 candidate remaining up here. It's a 7. And then I can solve my 3 and I can solve my 8 to finish off column 6. After the naked pair, he cross hatches again, looking at the 2s, and is able to solve for 2. Finishes off that 1, 7 naked pair. And if you see this situation, okay, 1, 7 and 1, 7 and a 1, 4, 7. Well, guess what? This 4 is out of luck. It doesn't. It's gonna be by itself because that's how you solve that cell. So solve for the 4 there, then start cross hatching the 4s, and he's able to come across rows 4 and 5 and column 8 and see that I can solve that for a 4. And from there, switched over to keep it in row 4 and said, oh, I can solve this for an 8. And then he looked at finishing off some blocks. So now at this point, he's like, okay, I got to create some more restrictions. So he puts a 7, 9 there. He comes up here and notices a 6 come across row 3, so I can put those 6s right there. And then says, all right, can I solve these 2 cells in block 6? And you sure can, because you're missing a 3 and a 9. There's a 3 coming right here, so this has to be your 9, that has to be your 3. So he marks those, and you see now you got most of the middle kind of figured out. And this is where you're going to be able to start narrowing the restrictions down for some of that more advanced logic. But But by solving that 3, he's able to solve another 3. After solving for this 3, he then focuses on finishing the rest of column 8. And so notice, oh, I just need a 7, 9, and a 1, 7, 9. And then this creates another naked pair, which is nice, because then he can focus on finishing row 7. And when you're starting to see all these by-value cells, you should get excited, because like, all right, now we're starting to get in the spot where we can use some more of that, those advanced techniques, maybe the skyscraper, maybe X, Y wing, X, Y chains, those kind of things that will start to come in play when you're having a lot of by-value cells where just, you know, two candidates in each cell. So after doing the 6 and the 8s, he finishes out the rest of block 9. All right, with a 7, 9 right there. And at that point, he's realizing, hey, we're going to get close. We can set up some advanced logic. And he says this in the video. He's able to solve one more 4, kind of cuts across here and realizes, oh, I didn't solve that 4. So that's a 4. Then he comes up and says, all right, we're just going to finish out the rest of these blocks. So he starts up here with block 2. So, okay, 1, 5, 1, 5, 9. Then over to block 7. So, all right, let me finish out the rest of this block 7. And, you know, the 7, 8, 9 triple coming across. And this isn't necessarily efficient. It's just more of helping see where the restrictions are. And then to column 7. So, all right, I got a 1, 7 and a 6, 8. What can I do here with column 7? I have a 1, 7, 8, and I have a 1, 6, 8. And then he stops here. He says, there's too many other possibilities with these other, the other block. And he says, hey, I see a skyscraper. Now, I've done a tutorial on skyscrapers. I'll put a link right here. You can check it out. But basically, at this point, he's able to see a skyscraper. So this is our positive video moment number 2. See if you can spot the skyscraper yourself. Well, I'll give you a few seconds, and I'll give you a hint. The skyscraper is going to use the number 9. The number 9. Okay? Congratulations if you spotted the skyscraper. You are actually really good at doing skyscrapers, and hopefully you've checked out my tutorial on it. For those of you who just want to enjoy the show, the skyscraper is between these cells right here, here, so these 2 9s, and then the tips are here in row 1 and row 3. So you notice there's only 2 9s here, only 2 9s there. They share the same base, and they have 2 ends. What we know is that a 9 has to at least be here or here. So any cells that see these 2 cannot be a 9. And what that's able to cause some eliminations and really get through this puzzle. Now, it's not marked here, but if you're able to know that there's no 9 here, and you can see there's a 9 here and here, and if you went this way, there's actually a candidate 9 right here in row 3, column 9, and then there's another 9 right here in row 7, column 8. That actually forms another skyscraper. But that's not the one that Ashish saw. You could use that, and you could eliminate the 9 right there. Kind of interesting. I point that out. But the one he saw is the one he made up with all these candidates. So now the question is, well, what if he didn't find the skyscraper? This is pretty, advanced logic. Is there still another way through this puzzle? And that's what I'm about to show you right now. So if you didn't find that skyscraper, the next thing you can do is you can look across row 3 and figure out that you have a 1, 7, 8 triple, 1, 7, 8. And so you can get rid of the 1 there, and this would be a 5, 9 pair. You could also do an X, Y chain. That would be able to eliminate 7 right here, but it doesn't really help you solve the puzzle. So what you end up having to do is you do need to find this skyscraper. And I'll show all the candidates and then kind of highlight the 9s and kind of make it in play. So like we knew that this was a 6, 8. So you can get rid of those. We knew that that was 7, 9. So you can see the skyscraper going this way, like I talked about, or skyscraper going up that way to eliminate the 9 from right there. That's really the only way that I saw you can make progress and move through this puzzle. Well, Ashish did find this skyscraper, and he's able to eliminate the 9 up there in row 1, column 4. And believe it or not, Because at this point, with 31 solves remaining, Ashish cracks the puzzle. It's all naked and hidden singles from here. Because you can solve that for 1, and then I'll just keep on going. There's 9, it's a 5, 7, 1, and he just kind of goes through pretty quickly, uses that Snyder notation, the notation he put down, to help solve through all those candidates. You can follow along or you solve it yourself. What'd you think? Very interesting puzzle. I loved the Skyscraper Logic. Ashish actually spends like 5 minutes explaining what a skyscraper is in the video. I suggest you check it out. Thank you, Ashish, for letting me feature your videos on this channel. I really appreciate what you do for the Sudoku community. I'm glad we got to collab together. Also, if you found something new, interesting about this, let me know. Share it with a friend. Like, comment, subscribe to Smart Hobbies. Check out these other videos from my channel while you get a chance. Thank you all so much for watching.